Zombies. You've heard of that name before. There are plenty of video games that use zombies in them. There are plenty of movies that have been made using zombies. This is a horror monster that started off really simple but evolved into something we are more afraid of than it was originally. The zombie was basically just a mindless corpse of someone who has passed on but risen from the great beyond and doesn't know what to do. The soul is no longer inside their body, so this living corpse is basically roaming around, but the sight of them is scary because they are not a living being anymore. They are a decrepit, decomposing body that's walking around. However, how did we go from something so simple to something so scary in the form of infection? And that's basically the premise of the Blackest Night storyline, is the fact that these Black Lanterns, who are former superheroes or supervillains that have been brought back from the great beyond, they are able to infect and turn those who live into Black Lanterns by simply ripping out their heart. Yes, and that's no different from a zombie biting someone in the neck and infecting them with the zombie virus. So, today's review, we are going to look at the Black Lantern Batman. Now, this Batman was released as one of 4 figures within the Blackest Night build wave. The build figure in that wave is Atrocitus, and the other figures that we are going to look at, not in any order, but for the month of Halloween, we will start with this Black Lantern Batman, then Superman, and then Deathstorm. And then that's it. And then I'll save the rest for the future. Because the other 2 characters are not really in the theme of the monster themed. And then there is one other character that is the 5th figure, or the 6th figure, I mean, that was released as a mega figure. And I think you know who I'm talking about if you think of the Black Lanterns. No, it's not Black Hand. They didn't make a Black Hand figure yet, so it's someone else. So, all right, with that said, what does this Batman come with? Nothing. He has no accessories. He has nothing at all. And he comes with the basic bio card, as you can see. And on the back, it literally reads the same bio as usual, but at the bottom, it tells you what happened. So during the Blackest Night, the Black Hand uses his power over the Black Lantern rings to raise the dead and unleash his army of Black Lanterns on the universe. Among those resurrected is Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, who had recently been slain by Darkseid. So keep in mind that this is not the Batman of the Prime universe. This is literally a Batman from a different universe where Darkseid basically unalived him. I don't know how. I don't know what the conflict was. And yeah, that's basically it. There's nothing crazy going on with who this Batman is. He's just the same Batman, but in a different universe where he is no longer alive. So there's that. As for the detail of this figure, I want to zoom in now because let's dive into the aesthetics. There is a lot of texturing on the suit, and you can see this line pattern that most of the Black Lanterns have on their uniform. It's kind of cool. I do like that they try to make their uniforms look similar in some degrees. And when I say that he doesn't come with accessories, you can't count the build pieces because they're not his accessories. So I don't know why they couldn't have included a Batarang. I mean, they could have, but they chose not to. So yeah. Or interchangeable hands, which is really weird. So as for the colors on this guy, he's pretty much like plain old gray, black, and blue. There's not really anything crazy going on in the details. Like, you can see the cape sculpting is nice and all, but again, it's all one flat color that, you know, goes from top to bottom. And there is this nice texturing with the cape, as you can see. Doesn't look bad. And for the backside of him, also very plain plastic. But again, there's this really nice texture work all over his costume, so it doesn't feel like it's completely just bare bone plastic in the grays. As you can see, he also has the Black Lantern logo in the middle of his bat logo, so that's cool. I do like that. And he does have the usual scary movie zombie hands, right? Like he's gonna grab you. He does have a ring on his finger, I believe. I forgot which one. Oh, right here, this one. So if the camera picks up, you can see it right there. It's right here. It's not painted, so that kind of sucks. They didn't paint it in, they just left it the way, they just sculpted it with no logo, and they just painted it all blue. So, however, there is some details in this cape that I don't know if I can show properly. It is, oh, I can, there we go. Do you see that? This is inside the cape. It is like dirt marks from, like, you know, raising from the coffin of his, you know, where his body is. I like this detail inside the cape, but I wish it wasn't all blue. Again, this type of texture could have been painted with some brown just to give it that sort of like, it is dirty, right? So, and why would he be buried with his bat costume, I wonder? That's a really good question right there. As for his face, though, let's take a look at his face. That is a really good head sculpt. Again, one thing I like about this head sculpt is that even though he's screaming, it works because he's supposed to be a zombie, right? He's supposed to be aggressive. This is no longer someone who's under control of himself. He's not alive. He is being controlled by someone else. So every single Black Lantern in the comics, when they attack other characters, they do have this angry looking, decrepit, scary face, which I really love the most with how they designed them. So that's basically all I can say about aesthetics, because there's really nothing else going on with the figure. But again, it's still a really nice figure for someone who really wants to have Black Lanterns on their shelf. And I think you can still get him. I think he's still available. I don't think he's too expensive, but yeah, if you have never had a Black Lantern Batman and you would like to have Black Lanterns on a shelf, you definitely need to get this figure because it's, you know, it's there. I wish he made more Black Lanterns, not just the 3 that we got. But of course, I don't know when that'll ever happen again. So as for articulation, this guy's articulation is your simple Mcfarlane articulation. We'll start with the head. Excuse me. You can look up pretty good. There's a really good neck articulation right there, as you can see. I like that. You can also look down, so that's good. He can look side to side. He can tilt his head side to side. Head articulation is pretty standard, and I like when it works. His arms will be hindered by his cape because this part in the shoulder will get in the way, so his arms won't go all the way back, but they can still lean out or stretch out, whatever the term is. So they can still go in a T-pose. But in terms of going back, that's not going to happen. Going forward definitely can happen because you want to get him in that zombie pose, like he's going to grab somebody, right? He does have double jointed articulation, but because my copy is a little bit weird with the... Oh, there we go. Yeah, a little bit weird. It does work. It does go all the way. Let me try the other arm. Let me see if it's better over here. There we go. It is a better double joint. It is kind of ugly, but if you don't really care about ugliness, then it's not too bad. As for his torso articulation, let me see if I can zoom in on that. It's pretty good. It's okay. It's there. Can't really ab forward with the ab crunch unless you use the waist. As far as waist piece, mine is really tight. It doesn't move. I can't get it to move because I've never heated up this figure. So, but it should be able to move like usual. That's basically all I can say. It's still your standard sculpt articulation. So, yeah, nothing really different down here. For his legs, they do have the capability to spread out. Not too crazy with the splits, but that's still, I think, better than some figures. And for his legs kicking out, that's as far as you're going to go because this upper piece does get in the way, like that pouch. He does have your standard double articulation right in the legs, and also feet articulation right here, toe articulation. Pretty much the same old standard articulation every Mcfarlane figure has. And I would say it's good enough if you need him to do some sort of zombie-like pose. And honestly, for a Black Lantern figure like this, yeah, I say it's pretty good. Now, why do I think this figure is lacking in some areas? Because if you're going to try to make something that looks like it's a horror monster, right? Like something that's scary, it would be nice if there was more tattered up details on him. And it would be cool if they all included a Black Lantern lantern, right? The charging battery for their rings, because the only figure that came with a lantern battery is Deathstorm, and you kind of have to share that with the others. I don't know if these guys know how to even use it, because I don't really know I'm assuming they do. So, I mean, it's just been nice if he at least included one accessory for each of these figures. Because him and Superman have nothing. Not even interchangeable hands. And I think that's kind of bad because you're paying $25 for each of these figures. You know, you would expect something, right? At least one or two accessories with the build piece, but no. So that's something to keep in mind if you do buy this figure. But you should be able to get them for sale now because these guys have went down in price for quite some time now. So, yeah. But outside of that, that is our look at the Black Lantern Batman. There's really nothing else I can say about him. He's really just, I mean, he's just simple. He's just a simple Batman figure. It's just another Batman figure, but this time it's a Black Lantern Batman. And whether you need him or not, it's up to you. I do, because I like Black Lanterns. I like the whole Lantern mythos, so of course I gotta have them on my shelf. But for you, it might be different. So, yeah. If you found this review informative, give it a like. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, you can do that as well. If you want to keep updated with my figure reviews or the other content on my channel. But you don't have to. So, with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.